Are you currently sat on the side of the road thinking, how am I going to fix this puncture? Or maybe you're just about to go out on your bike and you've realised you've got a flat tyre. Well, fear not, because you're in the right place. In this video, I'm going to show you how to fix that puncture very speedily and get you back on the road in no time. First off, what do you need to fix a puncture? Well, you're going to need a spare inner tube, you're going to need tyre levers, you're going to need either a mini pump, handy if you're maybe out on the bike and you're fixing a puncture on the roadside, or easier, a track pump if you are fixing one in your garage or in the comfort of your own home, and you might need a set of Allen keys to get the wheel out of your bike. Now, the first step is you want to take the wheel out of your bike that you have a puncture in. Now, if this is your front wheel, it's really easy. If you are riding a disc brake through axle, just unscrew the through axle, take it all the way out and the wheel will come out. If you're riding a rim brake, you want to open up the brake pads, undo the quick release and the wheel will come out. If it's your rear wheel, to make things a little bit easier, you might want to put it into the smaller sprocket at the back. Then exactly the same, undo the brake pads, undo the quick release, the wheel will come out. If you are struggling a little bit with this, we have got a more in-depth video on how to take your rear wheel out of your bike. Next up, you want to take your tyre levers and you want to put them underneath the bead of the tyre. And I'd always recommend working the opposite side of the valve. So valve at the bottom, we're going to be working at the top. And pop both your tyre levers in underneath the bead around, you put your second one around 5 to 10 centimetres apart, and then lift them both up and the tyre should pop over the rim. So once you have them both in, you then want to take one tyre lever and push it round the tyre, and then you can see the tyre has already come away from the rim nicely, and you want to do that all the way round the tyre. Now this is going to help us get that inner tube out and replace it. So put your tyre levers to one side for a moment, and just to know, you only need to do this on one side of the tyre because it's going to make it a hell of a lot easier to get the tyre back on after you've changed your inner tube. So now, still working from the opposite side of the valve, we want to get that inner tube out. So you can just put your fingers underneath the tyre, grab the inner tube, and then bring it out like so. And then flip the tyre or the wheel around, and then push the tyre just a little bit to allow space for that valve to come out. And you might have a little cap on your valve, so you just want to unscrew that off because you will not get it out otherwise. And then take your inner tube out. So that is your punctured inner tube, so put that down. You might not need that one unless you're going to repair it. Next up is the important part, and you want to check what has caused your puncture. So you want to check on the inside of your tyre. You can do this just by using your hands and very gently just rubbing it on the inside of your tyre to check there's, no thorns or anything stuck on the inside that you need to remove. But it's all looking good in this case. So we can now move on to getting a new inner tube in. With the inner tube that has punctured, don't go thinking that you have to throw it away because you can take it home and you can fix it. But when I'm out on the road and I'm fixing a roadside puncture, I always like to have a fresh spare one with me just because it's so much quicker. I can just whack a new one in and then worry about the punctured one when I get home. So when I get home, I'll fix it up and put it back in my back pocket so I can use it the next time I have a puncture. But if you don't want to do that, or you've fixed it X amount of times and you think it's long gone, you can actually recycle your inner tube. So don't just go chucking them in the bin. So a brand new inner tube out the box comes like this. It is very flat and compact, which makes it great for putting in your back pocket when you do need a spare. But when it comes to putting a new inner tube into your tyre, putting it in like that is going to be very prone to pinching it and puncturing it again. So I'd always recommend putting just a little bit of air into your inner tube before you put it into your tyre. So now that you have your non-punctured inner tube blown up a little bit, we're going to start off with the valve. So you want to pop your valve in first. This is after you have checked the tyre for anything that could puncture it again. So when you've got your valve in, you then basically just want to tuck the inner tube into your tyre. Tuck it into bed. So push it in all the way around Make sure it's in there nice and snug all the way. It's escaping at the bottom. In like so. Then run your hand all the way around, make sure it's in. So we're now going to work from the valve, so the valve at the top, and we basically just want to push the bead of the tyre onto the rim, like that. And I feel like this tyre is going on very easily, but sometimes you can get the odd tyre where it's quite difficult. And it should be quite easy to begin with. It can get a little bit trickier towards the bottom, but I do find it a little bit easier to stand up and you can kind of push the tyre to get all the material to the bottom to make it easier to get on. So after you've pushed as much as you can with your hands or your palms, so now that you've got most of the tyre on, you just have this little section here. You might, if you have really strong hands, be able to push it over the rim, but if you can't, just grab your tyre lever, you put it the opposite way to what you had it before, and you should just be able to pop it over. You might need to use two depending on how stubborn the tyre is being. You also want to check that the tube isn't pinching on the bead of the tyre, so you can just go around and check the whole way around just by pulling the tyre a little bit to the side on each side. You also want to take your tiny little lock ring that was on your valve earlier and screw that back on. Then that's all that's left to do is pump up the tyre. Now this could be hard work if you're with a mini pump on the side of the road, but it's going to get you home, so get pumping. So once you've pumped up your tyre, you've done the hard work, you're pretty much good to go and ready to get back on the road. That's all you need to do is pop your wheel back in your bike, screw it back up, give it a once over, make sure your brakes are working, everything's aligned, and you're good to go. But if you do have a inner tube that needs repairing, fear not, because we have got a video on that, so check that one out. But hopefully now you can get back on your bike and enjoy some more riding. If you did enjoy this video, make sure to give it a big thumbs up, subscribe to GCN, and I'll catch you in the next one.